Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news. No, it's not. I've got that wrong. It's not your latest news. It's Manchester United against Leicester. It's a watch-along. It's the Premier League and we are ready to go for Ruud van Nistelrooy's final game in charge of Manchester United. How are you all feeling? That is the team on the screen for you. Garnacho benched. I predicted this in the preview. I think it was absolutely inevitable that that was going to happen, to be honest with you. I'm not surprised. What are your thoughts on that, by the way? Look, I think... honestly, I don't massively care. It's just not that deep. I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I don't do player FC. If Ruud van Nistelrooy wants to start Rashford on the left, I've been saying this for a long time. The most important thing is to start Ahmad on the right because he is the best right winger. That to me is the most important thing here. And that's what's happened with Rashford. If he doesn't play well, you bring Garnacho on for half an hour. If Garnacho starts and doesn't do well, you take him off and you bring Rashford on. So I think that for me, it's just not that deep. And I really don't have a major issue with it either way. Hopefully Rashford has a good game and delivers. And if he doesn't, then obviously we've got an option on the bench. But I was just tired of the constant dropping of Ahmad to put Garnacho and Rashford in the team, and Ruud van Nistelrooy did that himself, and obviously Ten Hag did it as well. So I'm glad that that's sorted, and I think it's absolutely obvious that Ahmad needed to start, and that was the most important thing, really. Other than that, no real shocks. De Ligt and Martinez came back in, rested. Mazraoui and Delo at fullback. Agate, Casemiro, Bruno, Rasmus, and I'm happy with that team. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, but I'm genuinely quite happy with it. Let me just put this out and. The only thing I would say is that obviously we have some absolute what's the word for them? I mean, I'll use some of your words, but we have people in the fan base that are celebrating because Rashford's starting and Garnacho's been dropped, and they're being toxically abusive towards Garnacho, just the same as some people are toxically abusive to Rashford if he'd been dropped and Garnacho starts. These people are not going to help Manchester United develop. They are many things, and there are many names for these people. But the bottom line is Garnacho's stats this season are very good. I think he's actually our top scorer. So all this nonsense that he's shit and he's no good and he's overhyped. He's 20 years of age. He's our top scorer. There's people on 350k a week at that football club. There's people on 300k a week at that football club, and they haven't delivered the numbers that Garnacho has, who at 20 has to be given time, and the statement has to be he can get better. There are people at 27, 30, 32 who won't get any better, who are paid a lot more money, and people want to go for a 20-year-old. I said this last night, the stubbornness of player FC and this selfish agenda attitudes will never do this football club any good. I hate to say this, and some people criticise me when I say it, but the way Liverpool handled Darwin Núñez as a fan base over the last 2 years is just remarkable. Why do I have to look at Liverpool, our biggest rival, and applaud them on how you look after players? He's been there for 2 years. He missed sitters again last night, but he scored. They don't run out of patience with him. They stick by him. And he's what? He's in his mid-20s, and they just won't give up on him. They will just back him and give him the platform and the support that is needed. And people say, stop bigging up a rival. Mate, if you don't look at rivals and learn, you'll forever be a loser. Like, if you're one of those people, I don't care, he's shit, Salah's shit, so is McAllister, Slot's just lucky. If you're one of those people, you're ignorant and you're never going to learn. I look at rivals and I go, you know what, I hate saying it, but what they've done there is great. What their fans are doing there around protecting their players is great. What they've done with recruitment there is great. And to me, it doesn't matter whether it's Arsenal, Man City or Liverpool. I see things and go, I wish we could do that. I really, really do. And yeah, I think the way that Liverpool and their fans have protected Darwin Núñez, they do get frustrated with him, but they still always back him. And God, he's missed some sitters. If Darwin Núñez was at Man United, I think he'd have had a nervous breakdown with our fan base, because I think they would have absolutely destroyed him. And that's something we need to look at, because there's so many things going wrong at Manchester United. You look at the stadia, you look at the ownership, you look at the problems of the last 10 years. So many of it has got nothing to do with the fans, but we do play our part. We massively play our part. I've played my part. I've learned from it, and hopefully I won't do it again. But We all do. This is not just social media. This is people in the stadium. This is people who don't even go on social media. We give up and slate players way too soon, and the demands are too high. It's almost like the worse we get, the bigger the demands become. And that is incredible to me. So I'm happy with the team. This is not a statement of Player FC. I would say the same about if it was Rasmus, if it was Bruno. We especially when they're younger players and they're new signings, we do need to look at the way other clubs develop and look after their players. And it's shocking that I'm saying that about Manchester United, because we're the club that is known for developing and looking after players, but we seem to have lost our way a little bit there. So yeah, Garnacho is on the bench. I think he's had a reasonably good season. He's a 20-year-old, and he's got to work his way back into the team again, which he's got time on his side and the talent to do that. For people like Marcus Rashford, this is a big opportunity today. The money, the wage, the contract, the reputation. You've got the left wing slot. This is a massive opportunity. And Amorim is starting tomorrow. So you could be in possession of that shirt tomorrow if you do well today. And there's no reason why he couldn't. So I'm excited to see what that team can do. I'm very excited with Ahmad. I'm really happy that Rasmus is playing, because I think he had a bad game on Thursday, but I just think he gives us more of a dynamic up front, which I think is really important. Look, no one will talk about it because they get lost in Player FC, but, at the end of the day, should we not actually be talking about maybe Bruno Fernandes? I mean, played 90 minutes on Thursday, was absolutely shocking, in my opinion. There were some good bits, but it's just never expected, is it? Get Garnacho out the team, get Rashford out the team, but Bruno, let's just keep on picking him. And there he is again. I mean, look, fair play to Ruud van Nistelrooy. You've benched Garnacho and you're starting Rashford. Ooh, Billy Big Bollocks. You've not done anything with Bruno Fernandes, though, have you? Yet another manager that won't do anything about him. Mason Mount's on the bench. He could have played that role. Christian Eriksen. I'm not saying I would have dropped Bruno, and I'm not saying I would have expected Bruno to get dropped, but ultimately, there is a big fanfare, there is a big conspiracy, and there is a big myth around Bruno. He's not been that good since Christmas, and yet he starts every single game, probably because of his armband, probably because he works hard. We need more from Bruno Fernandes. I really like the player, but we need more from him. And I think sometimes we scrutinise the wrong areas of the team, and we get obsessed with who's playing at right back or who's playing at centre back or who's playing, on the wing. And actually, we've got a number 10 who is the captain, who is the focal point of the whole team, the conductor of the whole team, and he just plays every week. So on the one hand, yes, Garnacho's been benched and Rashford starting, big decision. On the other hand, Bruno will just play another 90 minutes, will he? When we've got two number 10s on the bench, who I would like to see them get given a chance in a role where somebody has underperformed for 8 months. The bench, though, Bienda, Eriksen, Johnny Evans, Garnacho, Heaton, 2 goalkeepers on the bench again. I mean, this has to stop. It's a real pet hate for me. But why the hell have we got 2 goalkeepers on the bench in the Premier League? Like, it's unfathomable. There are literally... Harry Amas could be on the bench. You don't need... Tom Heaton and Bienda... We started this with Solskjaer. I hate it. If you want to know something that winds me up, it's 2 goalkeepers on the bench. It's the absolute peak of knobheadness. I cannot stand 2 goalkeepers on the bench. It's a waste of time. We may as well start auctioning it off or do it for charity and let one of you sit on the bench or I'll sit on the bench. It's a waste of time. If you're going to put 2 goalkeepers on the bench, do something for charity. Like, put somebody on there that, will make their dream come true. It's a waste of time. There is no logic to having 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Nobody does it except us. Ridiculous. I absolutely despise it, and it doesn't get called out enough. It's idiotic, illogical, and a waste of time. There are so many young players you could put on the bench and make their day and give them experience. You don't need to bring them on, but you're never going to bring on Tom Heaton, so it's a waste of time. Mount, Lindelof, Xerxes, and Anthony make up the rest of the bench. Of course, that bench is going to get a lot stronger by the time we hit Ipswich after the international break. 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today. You will have Luke Shaw back. You will have Mainu back. You will have Yoro back. You will have maybe Maguire back. I'm trying to think who else is not back yet, but there'll be a lot more players back, as we know. Let's have a quick look at the Leicester team, then I'm going to get into some of your comments, because there's a lot of people with a lot of things to say, which is always good. Okay, so Leicester line up as follows. It's not the same team that played against us. In fact, I just want to, just while you're having a look, I just want to just give a bit of context here. It doesn't mean that we won't win, by the way. Doesn't mean that this is going to be. Doesn't mean that we can't win this by comfortably. But I just wanted to have a quick sort of run through of how many changes Leicester have made in relation to their back five. Only one player survives, and that's Justin at right back. So it's a completely different back five. Their midfield today is Samari, Ndidi and Winks, and against us only Samari started. And their front three is Fatawar, Ayew and Bonetti. Completely different front three again, apart from Ayew. So 3 players from their starting lineup that played us in the Carabao Cup start today. So it's a completely different team. Hermansen, Justin, Faze, Faze played as well, so 4. Vestergaard, Christiansen, Samari, Ndidi and Winks, Fatwa, Ayew and Bonetti. Vardy is not even on the bench, actually, today. So there we go. Interesting game. I expect us to win, but you know what? With Manchester United, you just never know. Virus says, what's your score prediction? I went 3-0 to United, but I think it could be interesting. Jack Long has a few super chats to catch up with, and then I'll get into the chat. I don't know where Vardy is, Mongi. I've got no idea. Jack Long says, do you think that Bruno is burnt out? Look, I haven't got time to talk about Bruno on this watch-along, but there is a bigger picture here. We've got a brilliant show scheduled in for you in the international break, actually. Just keep an eye out on it. It's going to be so good. But I'm sure we can talk about Bruno a little bit more over the international break, as well as we deep dive more into the squad and Amorim and the problems. But he's just, look, on Bruno Fernandes, I'll say this and I'll leave it at this. I watch every single Manchester United game. I know how good Bruno Fernandes is, and for the last 8 months, he has averaged, for me, a 5.5. 6 is average. He's been below average for 8 months, and he's played probably 60 games for Man United. That is the fact. Argue it out. Nick says 2 goalies for the United sub bonus, maybe. Yeah, it's amateur, I think. Darren, Anthony was terrible under Ten Hag, but if Ruben orders him to cross and not cut in, is he tailor-made for the new system? Don't know. Parker says Bruno suits a counter-attack. He's not a system player. Red Devil says Bruno and Rashford are the new McFred. We'll enjoy this game. Tension-free, gent, says Rub. Yeah, but you've got... Yeah, enjoy the next couple of hours, mate, because you're a Chelsea fan, so you've got a big game coming up at R4. I will be doing that as a watch-along on That's Football, by the way. Happy with the team. Sad to see Rude go, says Ethan Young. I'm ecstatic to see Rude go. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Is that wrong? I can't wait for him to go, mate. I have seen nothing in his management that makes me even hesitate to think, did we make a mistake? I didn't want him to be the manager. I'm absolutely ecstatic he's not going to be the manager, and I'm over the moon with Amorim. And if Amorim doesn't keep him tomorrow, I don't care. If he keeps him, happy days. You know, I like Rude. He is a legend, but I couldn't give a toss about whether he is the manager or not anymore. I want to get on with the future, and the future can't be Ruud van Nistelrooy. Stefan, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Mark, if persons like Rashford and Bruno and Luke Shaw with his injury concerns after being under the management of 3+ managers don't perform under Amorim, are they still... If they are still here, comments, says Devonte. Look, there are a number of players that have seen a number of managers get sacked. What Amorim decides to do will not be what you would do or I would do. I would walk in tomorrow and say, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. He won't do that. He'll give everybody a clean slate, as we spoke about on Friday night. I just hope that in giving everybody a clean slate, he figures out the issues quicker than other managers have, because ultimately every manager at Manchester United has given everybody a clean slate and then learned 2 years in there were certain players that Leopards don't change their spots. So there are plenty of players in that United squad who on their day are good enough, and that's why they play international football, but they are not consistent. What player in a Man United... Here's a question for you. Name me 5 Manchester United players from that first team squad of 25 that are consistently good players. And you won't be able to give me 5. You can try, and people in the chat and I will pick a hole in it. Mazraoui is probably the only one, and he's only been here for 2 months. Bruno Fernandes was very consistent for his first few months. And we used to have a moderator called Paul Robinson, and he said, I wonder how long it will be before Bruno gets infected by what Man United is. How long before Mazraoui becomes inconsistent? Because we have bought players who've come in and been really consistent, and then they just drop off. But yeah, look, I think it's one of our big issues at Manchester United, and it's certainly something that we need to look at. Thank you for the shout out about the volume. It was a bit low. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you can pick 5, then to be fair, well done. Well done. You've done a good job there. Because if we had 5 consistent players, we wouldn't be where we are in the league. Talking about where we are in the league, Manchester United today, obviously playing up against Leicester. I would love to be showing you the top half of the league, but unfortunately, I can only show you that. And the reason I show you that is we can't get out the bottom half of the table tonight. It's not possible. We are not going to beat Leicester by more than 4 goals. Well, we could do, but to go into the top half of the table, we can't do it. We can only get to 11th, actually, because Brentford have got 16. So we will be in the bottom half of the table even if we win this game. The best place we could be is 11th. We'll probably actually be 12th. 13th. Actually, what am I looking at? We'll probably be in the same position if we win, which just shows you how imperative it is that we win, because a win takes us level with Bournemouth and Newcastle, but Newcastle are playing as well. It's shocking where we are in the league table. And as much as this Premier League is good at the moment, I just don't think Amorim's got a bloody chance of getting us in the top 5. I mean, we are currently 7 points off 4th. That may as well be 20 points in this league. Like, making 7 points up on anybody in this league is so difficult, because where do you find 3 wins in a row, and where does everybody else lose 3 in a row? It's just not that type of a league. It's so competitive that it's really hard to string together results. So I think Amorim's coming in at a good time, where hopefully expectations are really low. I don't want people coming in and thinking Man United are going to get top 4 with Amorim. I just don't. I think it's going to be virtually impossible for us to do it. Would you take anything from a good first year from Amorim? I think the Europa League, Chris, for me is where it's all at. That's where I would go. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. We are currently on the road to 2 million, and we're only 10 subscribers away from 966,000. So we could be changing that in the next few seconds. Click and subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Amazing journey, amazing community. Make sure you become part of it and subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're live every night at 8 o'clock, and there will be an 8 o'clock show tonight, even though there's a match and a forum afterwards. We're every morning at 10 o'clock. We've got some cracking shows lined up for you on the international break, because obviously Amorim starts tomorrow. So we've got loads of stuff sort of lined up, interactive stuff. They're always good shows, especially the 8 o'clock shows during the international break. And there is a really good show that me and Ricky have been working on that's going to be a cracker. So make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and get involved. Really looking forward to having your company. Yes, so score prediction, I'm going to go 3-0. I think Leicester are dangerous, but on the other hand, they are a team that should be heading straight back down. Oh, can I also just add there, if you look at the league table, if Leicester beat us, they go above us. So there is a flip side to this coin. But it's Old Trafford, and it should be a win. Sending this from Old Trafford, Stretford End, I'm predicting a 3-1 win. Goals from Ahmad, Bruno and Xerxes off the bench. Hopefully build confidence, says Keith Keeley. If you are watching at Old Trafford, that is the brilliance of the reception there. I was there for the Brentford game, and you could actually send tweets and look at stuff. Last time I was there before COVID, you got no bloody chance. You had no service at all. You were like Rasmus, no service. But well done, and hopefully you get a good result, Keith. Teammates shouldn't see their captain throwing their arms everywhere and constantly whinging, says Nick. Ruben's first big call should be taking the armband off Bruno. In my opinion, it's got to be done, Mark, says Nick. Would you take anything from the first year? We bought Mazraoui for attacking right back, but he doesn't cross or have any assist. Other right back try to cross and create chances. I think this is an interesting point by Ryan, because I've been very impressed with Mazraoui, but this is really niche and probably deserves more of a conversation, and maybe we can bring it in to the international break as well, because I think it's such a good point. And in essence, Mazraoui's been really good, but we got rid of a defensive fullback in Aaron Wan-Bissaka because we wanted somebody who was more attacking. Mazraoui has not done much attacking at all yet. So it's a good point by Ryan, because I'm over the moon with what Mazraoui has done, but it is a good point that we don't really see anything going forward from him, and that was one of the reasons we all wanted to get rid of Wan-Bissaka. So I think we do need to see more. Having said that, Ryan, the big kicker to that is we're not going to play a 4-4-2 anymore, or a 4-3-3. So we're not going to see overlapping fullbacks unless, well, I just don't. I think we're going to see wingers. I really do. Leicester are going to win, says Nick, a different Nick. Who would you give the armband to if not Bruno, says kick your ass? You see, that's the big problem for me. I don't necessarily see an obvious selection for who would be captain for Manchester United beyond Bruno Fernandes, because I think it's a tough one to sort of to decide, really. I mean, I don't know. I think it's too early for De Ligt. I don't know whether Martinez is playing well enough for it. Casemiro is too short term. We lack leaders in that team. That is a strong bottom line. The fact that we're still without a proper left back infuriates me the most about this season, says King. Rashford doesn't have the same chemistry he had with Shaw when he's playing with Dalot or Mazraoui. Thank you very much to King. Rub says, I think Man United will win 3-0 today. That's what I've gone. And Nath Footy says, you remind me of Major from Fawlty Towers. Mate, he was about 100. What are you talking about? Talking out your ass, mate. Reminder, a lot of players don't want to be captain, says Chris. Well, look, there is a captain's curse at Manchester United. Like, Rooney fell off when he got it, Maguire fell off when he got it, and Bruno fell off when he got it. So it is a lot of responsibility. What I would say about Rooney, Maguire and Bruno is they all share the same determination and ability to stand up and take it, but whether they're good enough or not, obviously has been up for debate. Would you say players purposely fake fitness, says Sanil? I think some do. Yeah, I do. We're not too far away from the start of this game. There are other games going on today, by the way. I mean, the time where you look at other games and consider their impact on Manchester United are long gone, if we're being honest. But there are other games taking place today. Let's just, as we approach the start of the match, let me just give a shout out to Manscaped. If you don't know what Manscaped is, where have you been? Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. The fantastic kit that they've got. This is the one that does it down there. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Precision engineering for your family jewels. You can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code TUS20. Very easy. Scan that QR code, link in the description, or come back and do it later. But you can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping exclusive with TUS20. That's the sort of power that's in your hand, and it makes a very big difference down there when it's all nice and tidy. But it's not just down there they can help you. They've got the beard trimmer that's got 20 different lengths on it to give you a nice shave. I always like a bit of stubble, so it's perfect for that. They've got the weed whacker for up your nose. They've got the handyman that will just give you a nice clean shave if you want that sort of stuff. So many good products delivered to your door with the code TUS20. Link in the description. Scan the QR code. Fantastic. Big shout out to Manscaped as ever. Talking about Manscaped and shaving, Rain Smith says, let's put them to the sword. Thanks for being a member for 10 months, Rain. Good to see some members in the chat as well. It's always busy on a match day, but if you can see a badge, that means they're a member. And we'll be giving a shout out to some of you in a moment. Let's just say that the players are coming out onto the pitch. Let me save that there. Right. Yeah, 3-0 Man United. Bada bing, bada boom. Rashford starts on the left. I've got a feeling we might see a good game from Rashford today. I think we'll see a good... I think we will... You know what? That doesn't get spoken about enough. I think we will see a good performance from Manchester United today. I think the players have obviously warmed to Ruud van Nistelrooy, and I therefore think that they will try and put in a good performance for him in his last game. If I was Leicester, I'd play a low block and counter, because it's what United struggle with. And if I was Leicester, I would be very much looking at the first few minutes, first 20 minutes. Just frustrate, don't concede. If we can get the early goal, we'll be absolutely fine. The longer we don't score, the more problematic it becomes. Rudolph the Red says, been serving for 15 years. Today is always a special day. To all our fallen friends, we will remember them. Let's go United. Lovely message there from Rudolph the Red. Hope you're doing well. Obviously, Remembrance Sunday here and everywhere. Seb was playing football actually at around 11 o'clock today. Actually, it kicked off at 11 o'clock, so there was a minute's silence there, which was good to observe. And every other pitch surrounding was doing it as well. So yeah, good message there from Rudolph the Red. Hope you're doing well. Legend of the chat, actually been around for years. A good game for Rashid today. Isn't scoring, it's assisting Rasmus. I'd love to see that, Jude. It was the one thing I wanted to say before the start of the game. Obviously, the midfield as well. There's two things actually I wanted to say. Keep an eye on Agate and Casemiro, because I think they've quite silently brought a stability to the midfield that we haven't seen for a very long time. I'm not saying that they're playing brilliantly, but there is more stability there in the midfield. Secondly, let's just keep an eye on Rasmus, because a lot of people talk about, oh, you know, he should be doing this, he should be doing that. Look at Erling Haaland last night. One good pass, scores a goal. Rest of the game, absolutely nothing. What is he supposed to do? And he's the best striker in the world. Erling Haaland's link-up play is not very good. His hold-up play is not very good. Running the channels is not very good. He's not that good at pressing either. But he is a player that thrives on service. And on Thursday night, there was no service again. I agree with you, Mark. Score over performance. Frustrating with all the injuries suddenly resolved, says Topper. Hope you're doing well, says Danny O, another member. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that from Jude Forsyth as well. Who's your all-time favourite Man United player, says Ethan? For me, it's Roy Keane or David Beckham. Yeah. And Ishan says, if we don't pass to Messi, even he can do crap. In defence of Mazraoui, I've seen multiple times when our wingers avoid or dismiss his overlapping runs. And I hope Rasmus receives a pass today, says Mike Swan. Beagle says, have we gone after our own players during a Sir Alex Ferguson era? I'm sure not all our players were all great then. We need to stand behind our players. Thank you very much for that. Gavin's in the chat. A member, says Peter Schmeichel. Archie the Staffy is a member and says, I'm actually looking forward to this one. Just going through some member chats here. Dean Ryan says, I think the midfield is okay, Mark, watching from Dublin. Paddy could be from Dublin, but that could be stereotypical. Says, is that Bonite, who used to play for Brighton, says Paddy. I definitely know the name, and I don't know why I don't know where he used to play. Happy for a solid Man United win, says Ganesh. I think he did play for Leicester, for Brighton. Rudolph the Red is in the chat. Yes, let's get the lineup on the screen for you. Just a few people are asking for that. There you go. Right, I'm just 1 minute, because I'm just going to get my stand-up desk going. When United are playing, we need to be standing. Nearly erect. I'm talking about the desk. A slow erection of the desk, and we're ready to go. Yeah. Look, I'm just not even going to be negative. I'm not going to anticipate negativity here. I'm going to say Manchester United will win this game, And we will move into a new era with Ruben Amorim. Thank you very much for your super chats that have come in, by the way. Keep going, Mark. We depend on you greatly. May you and your family have a great Christmas, says Mick Jones. Bloody hell, it's not Christmas Eve, mate. Although it's Ruben Amorim Eve. Good to see Ahmad start the game, says Lee Goldart. Usually does well off the bench. Remember the name Fasundo Wanetti, says Hamad. Well, we'll all remember it now because you've just done a bloody super chat for it. But yes, he was at Brighton. He's only 19 years old and he is currently on loan from Brighton. So there we go. A little bit of... and he's Argentinian and he's playing on the left. So he's younger than Garnacho. He's Argentinian and he's playing on the left for Leicester. There we go. I don't care if Rashford turns up for match or a season. We can't carry players that only turn up when they feel like it, says Chris. Hi, Mark. Delighted to be a member, says Tom Toms, but the emojis could do with updates. My kid loves them. Let's win this. They do need an update. You're absolutely spot on. Appreciate that, Tom Toms. I'm hoping Amorim tactics and team structure will keep out the passenger players for good. Here's to a new era, says Andy Wilson. Thank you, Andy. Right, we're about ready to start here. Keep that going. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We were only 10 away from 966,000. It's interesting, actually, because Mazraoui, I think, is playing at left-back, which means Delo is on the right-hand side today, playing with Ahmad, which I don't actually like. I think Mazraoui and Ahmad were doing a little bit better together. So what are your thoughts on that? Yeah, I think that one's an interesting one. Although I think Delo is way better at right back and I think Mazraoui is a better left back. So maybe that's why Rude's done it, because Mazraoui is a better left back than Delo and a better right back, to be fair. I'm just waiting to start the timer here. Delo on the overlap would help, says Marvin. I don't think Gary Neville would have him on. He's too jealous. I'm the best right back here. I'm the best right back that's played for Man United. I know what you're talking about, though. Okay, up and running. Let's see if we can start this game well. I think that's the most important thing. Early goals when you're playing teams like this at home. Just, you know, it doesn't even matter if... Michael O'Reilly, I'm sorry, mate. You just got yourself blocked. Sorry. It's just too much. But I think with regards to these types of games, it doesn't matter whether you're at Anfield and you're Liverpool or you're Arsenal at the Emirates. If you can just get an early goal, even if it's a deflection, it just changes the whole complexion of the game. And obviously, United's fan base at the moment is just a little bit uncertain, isn't it? Obviously, Amorim's not here yet, so there's that little bit of uncertainty. Bruno's just given the ball away. Early doors, but bad kick out by the keeper. Rashford, bit of time. Edge of the box, that's it. Keep the rotation of the ball. Sid, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. When I see interviews with Sir Jim, I keep hearing your impression of him now, says Glenn C. At the end of the day, Glenn, I don't really think I do a great Sir Jim impression. It has an element of posh Dyche to it, but Bruno trying to put a cross in there, and that's what it's all about. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're here to win. But yes, the way things are at United at the moment, if we were still 0-0 after half an hour, Casemiro dispossessed very easily there. Oh dear, this is not good. Good run there. I don't know. I think it's not the first time I've watched Leicester this season, if I'm being honest, but I'm not too sure about who their players are. I think that was that Bonetti then who went on a good run past Agate and Casemiro got dispossessed, but it looked like a good run. Their midfield is very physical, says Marvin AM. Good observation, Marvin. Yes, and Didi Samari. Yeah. Ahmad down the right-hand side. Needs a bit of help because he's all on his own. But he's gone all the way to the touchline there. Let's get this stats carousel rolling around. And he wins a free kick. Good play by Ahmad. Hex, welcome to the Members Club. Thanks for getting your badge in. Jude Forsyth says, Matt O'Reilly from Celtic doing the business. Get him in early before someone else buys him. He's going to be some player, says Jude. Funny player, Matt O'Reilly, isn't he? Came in from Celtic, born in London, plays for Denmark. Danish mother. Quick facts. There we go. Ronnie's Gaming Channel. Thanks for being a member for 22 months. Ahmad, your best player, says Cruiser. Thanks, everyone. Chance for Man United to whip a cross in here. Yeah, look, I agree with Marvin. We don't always agree, but that's the whole point. I think Leicester are a bit of an unknown quantity, and they certainly have got a midfield that can be very competitive. I remember Samari, when he came into Leicester, everyone thought he was going to be the next Ndidi. I think Ndidi fell off a lot quicker. I mean, I remember when, like, I remember that. Can everyone remember, like, when Ndidi was the player that we spent at least 2 years saying buy Ndidi from Leicester, and then he seemed to just fall off a little bit. But there was a time when Ndidi was expected to be the next big player to leave Leicester and probably go and play for Liverpool or Chelsea or someone like that. But he sort of fell off a little bit, didn't he? Bit like P, did he? United will win. Pull support from Indonesia, says Jaden. I don't know why I'm calling him Ndidi. It's Ndidi. I'm crap with names. Yeah, but as I was saying, the complexion of this game will be very interesting because after 20 minutes, if it's still 0-0 and Leicester are in the game, that's when Old Trafford or an Anfield or whatever starts to get a little bit impatient. And that's when, as an away team, you start to win the battle. You concede early and the crowd goes up and then you're up against it. So always you want to... That's why Sir Alex Ferguson in Old Trafford games, whether it was European nights or Saturday afternoon games or Sunday or whatever, he would always push his fullbacks overlapping in the first 10 minutes and try and whip crosses in, because even if there was no chance of Scholes or Cole or anyone getting on the end of it, just a good Beckham cross that forces a corner or whatever, it just gets the crowd going. And Sir Alex Ferguson was brilliant at, trying to get that momentum in the first 20 minutes. So even if you don't score, the crowd is bubbling. We've not really done that for a long time. And it's a shame, really, because Old Trafford's, that's ingrained into Old Trafford that, let's get the crowd going, let's get up for it. But we just don't have that intensity. And hopefully that's something that Amorim can look at. But good interception there. That's got to be worth. Good play by Rasmus into Bruno. Now it comes into Ahmad. He's in the box. Gets a shot off. Easy catch for the keeper. United BT says Casemiro's had a good start. I've not noticed it any better than anybody else's, mate. I think it's been an even start from both players, from both teams. Ahmad has benefited from his loans in the EFL, says Niki. Hexbeard, welcome to the Members Club. I think I might have done that. But remember, Manchester United. I think I'm right when I say this, but as bad as this season has been, we've conceded the same amount of goals as Chelsea. And we've conceded less than Man City. So defensively, whatever you want to say, there is something to build upon with United in relation to chances that we actually concede. We're certainly a lot better than we were last season. That's a good win by Agate, and it's allowed us to get away with Ahmad down the right-hand side. Needs to slip it into Rasmus. Rasmus is going to have to play a pass here because he's got no support. The defence this season has not been as bad. It's a fact. Even under Ten Hag, and it's continued with Ruud, defensively, we're not as bad this season as we were last year. The problem is we're just not scoring goals, which is obviously a problem. But like Non says, our defenders are actually not that are actually very good. So yeah, look, Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire. Obviously they're not playing today, but they've had a couple of games where they've done well. De Ligt, I think in general has settled in quite well. Low key, I think he's doing quite well. Mazraoui's obviously had the plaudits. I mean, Delot seems to have played everywhere. Martinez seems to be getting back. Leicester free kick. We should go back in for Titi, just so you can get to say, what happened to it? Patrick, what happened to Titi? There are other games going on at the same time if you're interested. I mean, I'm doing Chelsea versus Arsenal as a That's Football watch along later, but Forest are playing Newcastle at home. Tottenham are playing Ipswich. It's depressing reading when you look at the league table as it goes round, because even if we were to win today, injured Titi, and he's at Lille, even if we were to win today, we probably won't move a place. It would just get us closer to mid-table. It's a long road. Working back. 5 Cantonars says, my song's due soon. Oh, I love that. Tradition. I mean, Christmas is tradition anyway, but in a Manchester United fan base, 5 Cantonars, we love that. Phil White, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Good interception by De Ligt. Wanted the free kick, Leicester, but they won't get that. Ten minutes gone then, and I don't think we've had any shots on goal from either team at the moment. My favourite song about the long road is the one in Rambo, First Blood. It's a long road. I need to watch that. That's a Christmas film. Die Hard's definitely a Christmas film, and Rambo First Blood is a Christmas film because it's set at Christmas in a town that's full of Christmas trees, so it's a Christmas film. Rashford down the left-hand side. First time we've seen him, runs it out of play. I thought he got tackled, but apparently run it out of play. Chris says Rashford's lost possession 4 times already and done nothing. What do you think about Rude's clothing attire today? You know what? I think he woke up this morning and said, it's my last chance, it's my last job, so I'm just going to really try and look the part. Ben Jr. says, I'm worried about Rashford's pace. It's something that's been a recurring theme in the watch-along chats for the last few months, and it's something I've resisted and said I just don't understand it. But I am starting to see it, and I don't know whether it's psychological, but a lot of people have been saying that he's lost pace over the last sort of probably 8 months, I suppose. And it does look like he has, to be honest, but I don't really understand why he has. I like this number 40 for Leicester, Bonetti. I do. I don't know. I know he's on loan from them, but I do like him. Good defending by Leicester. Cross from the. I think it was it Bruno put the cross in there. Goes out for a corner, but Ahmad was waiting on the back post. But yeah, I do think Rashford for some reason has lost a yard of pace. It was Bruno who put the cross in, and not a yard of pace. That would be ridiculous. But he seems to have lost the explosive pace. When you think about the Ten Hag days, obviously not this season, but you would always look for that ball over the top. It's why you could play Rashford up front, because he's got explosive pace, but for some reason he seems to have lost it, and I don't know. I'm not a sports scientist. I don't know how you can lose it at 27, because he's not really had an injury. His bad injury was his back injury, and he was sprinting after that. So I don't know what it's all about. Corner was wasted there. Did Rude borrow one of Ten Hag's turtlenecks, says Fraser? And HC says, I watched Sally yesterday and he's lost so much pace. He's in his 30s. I literally see the same with Rashford, and that's worrying. Well, it is when you've given him that long contract and then big monies. But I don't know. Maybe it's a myth. Hopefully it's a myth, because I don't really understand it. But you know what? It's a scrappy game at the moment, and it's another game where a team comes to Old Trafford and feels liberated. Scrappy so far. We sort of get accustomed to it, don't we, though? We were talking about it a couple of minutes ago about those quick starts, get the crowd up. It's scrappy, and it's slow, and it's another low block, and we're struggling to do anything against them. But you just want a bit of a deflection on a cross or something like that. I hope Rude leaves a few roll necks in the drawer for Amorim just so he can wear them during games and impress the legacy media pundit, says Nick P. I was at the Chelsea game last week, says Sam. Hold on a minute. Bruno refuses the cross and then messes up the cross. Sam says, I was at the Chelsea match in Old Trafford last week. Bruno moaning again. I was at the Chelsea match in Old Trafford last week. Marcus Rashford's body language was bad. I do agree that he has lost pace and confidence in the attack. Thoughts on Man City, and would you do pitch side? What is pitch side, Bruce? If you're talking about the podcast, I don't think they'd ask me on, mate. They're very, good lads, but I don't think they'd ask me on. Slightly off topic, but Amorim would technically be the first coach of Manchester United without the veto over transfers. This makes me positive about the future, says Rohit. Rashford loaned to Arsenal in January. Who says no, says 58 Go. People slag Rashford off. I don't think Martinelli's all that. Dimitri says, who's the worst captain in United history? Get in the chat. That's a thinker, that is. I would say Fellaini. He did captain Man United. But who's the worst captain of Man United who had it for a season or more? I mean, most of my life we've had good captains. It would have to be Maguire, Bruno, or Rooney. It would have to be. Because even before the Premier League, it was Robson, wasn't it? So, as sad as it sounds, it would have to be Maguire, Bruno, or Rooney. Casemiro misses a tackle. Good play by Martinez, but he's made a mistake. And then Casemiro, corner. Bit scrappy from Man United. I've never seen a more petulant captain in my life. Don't even need to say his name, says Alejandro. What is Rashford without pace, says Parker. I'll wait. And Stephen says, it's my 12-year wedding anniversary today. Currently hiding from the better half to spend it with you, says Stephen. Get her in. She'll have a great time. She'll be like, why have you never introduced this to me? Why Rooney? Because... No, that's what I mean. Sadly, I think it would have to be Rooney, Maguire or Bruno, because this period has been the worst period in the Premier League era, hasn't it? So we won an FA Cup with Rooney. We won an FA Cup with Bruno. What did we win with Maguire? I think we did win something. Actually, we won more. Remove Rooney, because I think we won with Rooney, didn't we? We won more. Oh, Ahmad, I thought he got himself through one-on-one then. He's got it on the left-hand side. He's probably been the most lively player again, Ahmad. By a long way. Ahmad loses possession and instantly presses till he gets it back. Love, we need more of that in my opinion. A goal for Manchester United, and it's Bruno Fernandes. Well, I tell you what, he silenced his critics there. An absolute banger from the edge of the box. It was almost like Casemiro's first goal in the Carabao Cup. Not as much height on it, but he finds the bottom corner, and that all comes from Ahmad's work rate to win the throw-in in the first place. Well, shh. This is what we want Bruno Fernandes to do. The criticism is absolutely justified, but that is what he's got to do more and more. And if you think that Bruno Fernandes is not going to be a massive player for Amorim, you need to park that agenda, because he will be a massive player. And Ahmad actually had a lot to do in the goal as well, with a little bit of a back heel But, you know, the back heel from Ahmad is fantastic. But also, I think the work before that to win the throw-in, it was his work rate in the attack. It's a good finish. Some people are saying, could the keeper have done any better? But I actually think because FaZe is in front of the keeper, it's a tough one for the keeper to deal with. And they should have closed him down better. And he almost uses FaZe as the player. Says people slagging him off now they're celebrating. Mate, I'll never understand that. You've just outed yourself as Player FC. So you're telling me that people who've said Bruno's been bad shouldn't celebrate Manchester United scoring a goal? That's the definition of Player FC, mate. Like, the criticism of Bruno is completely and utterly fine. I've criticised him. I like the player, but he hasn't been good enough for 8 months. But the whole point is we're criticising him because he can be better. And when he is better, you're going to praise it. That's the whole point. It's Manchester United, not Bruno Fernandes. It's like, if you're not playing well enough, you get criticised. If you do well, you get praised. That's the difference between supporting your club and being Player FC. Player FC will, some people will love Bruno even though he's been shit. Some people hate him even though he scored. Most of us just want the team to win. And if people do well, you will be praised. And if you do badly, you'll be criticised. That's how it works. Maybe have to say Rooney, soon as he took the armband, fire went out and he wasn't aggressive, says Phil, in relation to our worst captain. Is it time to... Dan, unfortunately, I think you've caught this badly because of timing. He says, is it time to take Bruno off set pieces? Every corner hits the first man when Eriksen takes much better, says Dan. But Eriksen's not on the pitch, is he? I've always hated Ashley Young as captain. Epitome of mid-player. Couldn't believe he was our captain, says Julian. Yeah, good point. Why is Bruno moaning while he's playing every position except his own, like Harry Kane in the Euros, says Denny. We're moving very quickly to recover the ball. Final ball terrible as usual, but the recoveries are a good sign, says Patrick. Thank you very much. Well, we lead 1-0 here, and we've got that goal in the first 20 minutes, which is absolutely imperative when you're playing teams like this. And you know what? As I said, a lot of people are waxing lyrical about the Ahmad flick that gets Bruno the goal. But for me, the more impressive thing was the work rate to win the throw-in, because that is endeavour and reward. That's what some players at United seem to not acknowledge, is the fact that what you get what you put in. So, you know, you might close a player down 5 times and get nothing for it. But on the 6th time, those situations will... Possession is the key. You've got to work hard for possession. You can't just give up. You can't not track back. You can't just jog into the press. And, you know, even before the goal that Bruno has scored, I think Ahmad's been the most lively player, in my opinion. Gaudi says, Ahmad, the generational talent. I just think so many of us have said it for weeks. Why were we putting Garnacho or Rashford on the right wing? Just put your best player on the right wing and let Garnacho and Rashford fight it out on the left. Gareth Southgate says Bruno's the greatest captain ever. Item says 24 goals, assists equals not good since 8 months. Mate, look, you want to live up Bruno's arse, that's absolutely fine. I know my past, and so does everybody else who watches the channel. I was absolutely obsessed with the signing Bruno Fernandes. He is one of my favourite players. And therefore, when I criticise him, it's coming from a place of honesty. If you think he's been good over the last 8 months, then I don't know what you think you're watching. He's going to get goals and assists because everything goes through him. Everything goes through him. Like on Thursday, he got an assist again, didn't he? But that doesn't mean he's played well over the 8 months. If you're hiding behind goals and assists, he has not played well for the last 8 months. Every player rating show, he's getting a 5. So he hasn't played well over the last 8 months. And you can hide behind your Player FC and your picture on the wall. But the bottom line is, as somebody who likes Bruno and would never question his work rate, he hasn't been at the level he needs to be for the last 8 months. Now, hopefully, with a new manager coming in, he will be. But he's going to have to change the way he plays, because Hollywood balls, hero balls, misplaced passes aren't going to work. But that was a really good goal, and he's got it in his locker. Of course he has. Why do you think we find it hard, players like Park or Herrera anymore? Excuse me. HC says, why do you think we find it hard to find players like Ji-Sung Park or Ander Herrera anymore? No ego, humble, hard worker, no controversy. Really need those traits. They are out there, HC. It's just recruitment. Anyway, Leicester on the attack. I wouldn't rule Leicester out. I really wouldn't. They've not really done anything yet, but it's not a dominant Man United performance. It's just we've got that early goal, which is absolutely essential. So glad Ahmad is finally getting the recognition he deserves. What Rashford has over him in talent, Ahmad more than makes up in work rate, says MPB. Well, look, what does Rashford have over Ahmad in talent? They're both playing the same game, and Ahmad's done a lot more. I think it's disrespectful to Ahmad to say that Rashford has got more talent, but Ahmad's got the work rate. I don't see. I think Ahmad probably, certainly, in my opinion, over the last 6 months has shown more of both, and he deserves a run in the team. Brilliant from Bruno, says Savage. Jonathan Garland, thanks for being a member for 18 months. Leicester got a free kick here and a chance to whip the cross in. 23 minutes gone. Apparently we've got a goal in the other games. Forest are beating Newcastle. Bloody hell. Nosebleed FC. Murillo scored, Alanga with the assist. Spurs are 0-0 with Ipswich. I mean, mate, we're not even anywhere near Spurs or Forest. It's so essential that we win today. Absolutely essential. Dad says passing's been awful. You know what? If the referee said, do you want to end it now, Goldbridge, and you can go for a Sunday afternoon pint and a walk before Arsenal-Chelsea, I'd take it. I just want the win. Kana Dave says, you're so right, Mark. Other channels don't call the players bad. Only Man United fans. It's so sad. Rashford only has height over Ahmad, says Ash G. And Agate and Casemiro really working well together, says Raz. I'm glad that you've said that, Raz, because it was one of the things I said before the game that I wanted people to take notice of. First thing was the midfield of Agate and Casemiro may not be perfect, but it's certainly given us stability, which has provided more of a platform and more of a protection. We've not conceded any chances in the first 25 minutes, for example. The second thing I was going to say is, will we provide any service to Rasmus? Which doesn't actually matter at the moment because we're winning 1-0. But I would like to see if we do that because, again, it's still really, really poor in relation to that. Good play by Ahmad again. Wins the ball back, plays it simple. Casemiro switches it out wide. Mazraoui's got the ball. But you can see the dynamic of the team is changing as well because we've always been a team that really goes down the left-hand side. The stats bear that out over the last 5 years. We're a very left-centric side. But I think in the last couple of games, we've abandoned that and we're going down the right-hand side a lot more than we ever have. And I don't know whether that's a conscious thing from Ruud or a subconscious thing from the players, but they seem to be wanting to go down the right-hand side because of... there's more outcome from there, and that's a testament to Ahmad. Rashford runs into players, loses the ball, runs the ball out of play, stays offside, misses the target, doesn't pass, doesn't cross better than Ahmad, says Luke 82. Alan, welcome to Members Club. And Brano says, you need to take some lessons from Forest. Well-oiled machine, have a defined style of play with pure passion, and everyone is on the page with no ego, says Brano. Leicester have just tried a shot from the halfway line and he slipped. He looks all right, twat. Well, look, I'd say the same about Brentford. I'd say the same about Brighton. I'd say the same about Fulham. And obviously you've got to say the same about Forest. Those four teams at the moment are unfashionable teams who are, you know, working and coached ridiculously well. Somebody said, why don't we find players like Ander Herrera and Ji-Sung Park anymore? But why do Fulham and Brighton and Brentford and Forest find them then? They are there. You're talking about no ego players who turn up every week and work hard in a system. Good save, Onana. They just had a one-on-one there. Big save by Onana. It was Ndidi who didn't get tracked. And it's a one-on-one. He never really gets the ball, but he's miles onside. Delo playing him on. terrible by Delo, because the back four is playing the offside trap, but Delo doesn't. And it leads to a one-on-one where, and Diddy, well, he ain't Jamie Vardy, but it's a big chance for Leicester. They're making a fist of it. DJ says, where were the centre-backs? Playing an offside trap, mate. And it would have worked. Don says, would Eric Ten Hag be higher if Ten Hag played Ahmad? I think there's no point in living in the past anymore. We're moving to the future, isn't there? Here's, you'd think we've lost 4 games in a row the way everyone is disrespecting Rude, says Rash. Doom and gloom everywhere, support the players. You'd think you'd woken up from a coma and been watching something else. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyone want to help Rash out with whatever he thinks is going on? Delo is by far our worst on the ground right now. And would United be higher? Would you swap Rashford for Matoma, says Vabath? Well, yes, I would, because if you watched Brighton last night and you've seen what Matoma's all about, I think that Matoma's a very different type of left winger, isn't he? It's very technical. It's very passing. It's got a lovely touch. They're just completely different left wingers. And we need to be better in possession and creativity, and Matoma would bring that. So, yeah, I would do that. Man United need to take some... I've done that one from Brano. Thanks for your super chats, by the way. Simon says, Delo is by far our worst in the ground right now. Matoma creates, says Argos, yes. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. I think we might have hit 966, but I'll double check. We were 10 away, so please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Get involved with the channel. You're very welcome. We're live every night at 8 o'clock, every morning at 10 o'clock. And, of course, match day is a big day. Countdown to kick off a couple of hours before the game. My watch-along, match reaction, where you can do the player ratings. And then we have the fan forum in the studio as well. Get involved with the United Stand on the road to 2 million. Subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And Rashford trying to play Bruno in. Just didn't have the pace on the pass. And we've won it back again. Football's so bad I can't bear to watch, says Leonandes. Yeah, but we're winning, mate. We're winning. That's what matters. Sunday League teams keep the ball better than United, says Niki. A bit of criticism there coming in for the football we've played. Look, I don't massively care. I just want to win. Get the win today and move into the new era. I'm not even that massively bothered about individual performances, because, if somebody plays well, that's good. If somebody plays shit, then it's a new era tomorrow, isn't it? Ipswich are beating Spurs, by the way. That is a big, big shock. Well, Ipswich have been very unlucky in recent weeks. With red cards and what have you. Here we go. Ahmad, bit of space on the left-hand side, right-hand side. Lays it off, and Agate, it's not Ahmad's fault that. Agate, again, thought somebody was behind him. There wasn't. There wasn't Agate. You were imagining it. It was the invisible man. McTominay's left. Actually, that would have been a good ball for McTominay to run onto. He'd have buried that, to be fair. 966. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for subscribing. Rude Roll Next now available in the United Stand store, says Gareth. And Patrick St. Pierre says, excited to see Agate back in Amorim's system, quietly having a good game. Lately, Hoyland is starting to piss me off, says Frank. And how can Delo drop off this bad? And Rashford is just standing there, says Stig. I feel bad for Rasmus, never stops running, but has to work on first touch. Yeah, look, I've seen a lot of people talking about Rashford and Rasmus in this game. I wouldn't disagree with you on everything you've said. I don't like the abuse. I think that's a bit too far, but I'm not going to pretend that they're having good games. But as I said, as long as we win the game, and if that becomes in jeopardy, then those performances become more into focus. But if we win the game, I'm not that bothered about bad performances, because we've got a new manager coming in with a new system who hopefully will deal with those types of performances. Jake says, Delo needs a rest, slow decline each game. I don't blame him, always available and had to cover. Yeah, this is a great point by Jake. I think there's a good player in Delo. Shot straight at the keeper there, for our keeper, Anana from Winks. I think Delo's had to play an amazing amount of football in recent weeks. I don't think anybody would deny that. Talking about jumpers, link should be in the description for this. I hope it is, otherwise I'm wasting my time. It's not. Oh, it is. Exclusive merch collection. It is there. Shopify. It's just have to scan down a little bit. Our Christmas jumpers are now out. They are knitted. We do ship them worldwide. A new design every year, and you can get them while you can. They are limited edition run, so once they're gone, they're gone. And there you go. And it is knitted, as I said. I'm holding it up to the microphone. That's not going to show it. There we go. I'm only touching it because I was going to hang it up a little bit higher. And you can't see it. Where do I put it? Here. Do I put it up here? Yeah, there we go. People complaining about style of play. Remember, Amorim is being bought in for all that's needed. Today is a win. I agree with you, Henry T. I haven't left, Mark. I'm still here. Says Scott McTominay. Thank you very much for your super chat there. Well, look, the big thing for me is if this was 0-0, the live chat and the stadium would be starting to grumble. This is a prime example about what we talk about so much. When United are playing the low block at Old Trafford and teams grow into the game and it's 0-0 and you start to grumble, that is what worries me. And Leicester wanted a free kick on the edge of the box there. It's not been given. Stig says, Dino's making a good point. Rashford is too scared. Well, he's got the ball now. And Knuckleball says, I think that Ahmad has got the most potential from wingers. He's more complete than others and will do anything for the badge. Imagine playing the day after his mum passed as well. Lovely comment there from Knuckleball. Ipswich are beating Spurs, says Chris. Dino, thank you very much. And it's about time we recognise that Onana is consistently one of the best players on the pitch. I believe he's been incredible, says Andre. I wouldn't say he's been incredible, mate. I mean, I think this is where people go over the top. I literally was going to say there that he's had a good season, but then you have to add in incredible, and it just makes me think this is what's wrong with the fan base, because somebody does okay or good, and suddenly they're world class. We overhype things, and then we moan when they don't sustain it. Like, I think Onana has had a good season. Good tackle by Agate. Here we go. Where's he going? Where's the movement? Bloody, he's got to go backwards because Rashford and bloody Rashford and Rasmus are holding hands. Great tackle there by Agate, and he's looking forward. And Rashford and Rasmus they're next to each other. They should be busting a gut to split. And that's what I mean. You know, Agate's done what he's meant to do in the team there. Break up the play quickly. He's played, and there's no movement in front of him. It's madness. Absolutely madness. Should be sprinting like mad. Mark says, Hoyland's poor since joining hasn't shown that he's capable. The only reason he gets away with it is because he did an interview on the channel. Mate, grow up. Grow up. Ipswich are leading 1-0 at Spurs, and Smodics scored in the 31st minute. Has your thoughts changed on Onana? He's a player of the year contender. Mate, Carl, I'm really bored of this. I can't do this. I'm sorry. Have the Onana chat in the chat. This is one of my biggest frustrations about this fan base. Like, Onana's now player of the year contender and he's incredible. What has he done in this game? His distribution's been good and he made a one-on-one save. He's not made 10 worldies. I just think we just have to just be patient. We've got to build building blocks. Encourage players. He's had a good season. But you now want to define him as the next Peter Schmeichel. Just chill out. It's going to take time. But I think it's good that he is... look, last season was a bit of a nightmare for him, if I'm being honest. This season, there's more stability. But you know what? I think a lot of that's got to do with the stability in the midfield and the stability in the back four is giving him more protection. He's facing far less shots this season. And I'm not saying that the quality of the shots aren't good, because he's made some brilliant saves when you think about the Europa League. But I think the whole back five and the midfield pivot now with Ugarte and Casemiro is much better. Last season we were conceding so many chances. Didn't see Salah or Nunez on top of each other, says Brian. The first choice we always seem to take is pass backwards, says Patrick. 2-0! And it's Bruno Fernandes again. Lovely goal this time. And I tell you what, you can moan all you like, but the bottom line is Man United lead 2-0 and Bruno Fernandes has got 2 goals. You know what? We'll take this because it's you know what? It's formulaic, isn't it? It's what's the word? It's good. It's routine. It's routine. You know, it's not been a great performance, but we haven't really conceded any chances. It's Mazraoui with the goal as well, cross as well. Bruno track. I mean, look, that's a good goal. Again, it's a good goal. You can't argue with it. Mazraoui, we were talking about him before the game as well. Oh, it's not Bruno's goal. It's an OG. It's gone off the defender, hasn't it? I don't think this will go down as a Bruno goal. No, it goes in off the knee. Bruno's header, I don't think is going in. We'll have to have a look at that and see if they award it. No, that's an own goal. That's not going in. But Mazza with the assist, yes, Andre. I think Bruno's trying to claim it. It's gone in. It's not going to be his goal. It's going to be an own goal. But it's still a goal for Manchester United. That's all that matters. And to be 2-0 up and have a little bit of breathing space as well, you'll take that, certainly. 2-0 Manchester United. And fantastic to be in that position. We've got to get the 3 points today. Obviously, Amorim starts tomorrow. That's when the real journey starts. But 3 points is what matters. Not comparing him to Messi, but Ahmad's small stature is a problem for defenders. Moves silky smooth through defenders, similar to how Messi can. He's so important for our future. Give him a renewal, says Jace. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think he will sign that. J-Dead says, Onana Ballon d'Or incoming. But, mate, look, I hope that can happen. What people forget about Onana is that when we bought him from Inter, we were buying a keeper that had just played probably man of the match in a Champions League final. Last season wasn't great. This season, it's been good. Hopefully that can continue. And as I said, with Amorim, there's other areas of the pitch you'd be looking to change over the goalkeeper. So hopefully that can continue. The first choice we always seem to make was a back pass. We are too slow getting the ball forward, says Patrick. And yet we lead 2-0 here in what's been quite an equal game. I mean, you know, look at the stats there. Shots on target and pass accuracy. It's been, you know, quite equal. But I think where, again, I would praise United, and a lot of people probably don't realise it, is our defence, and certainly Casemiro and Ugarte, are providing a platform that allows you to be quite progressive as a team. Maybe not in the way that we're playing, but, you know, we've taken our chances and we've got a 2-0 lead. And Leicester can't do anything if they're not creating chances. And I said this before the game. People might find it amazing, but we've conceded less goals than Manchester City. We've conceded the same amount of goals as Chelsea. Defensively this season, it's completely different to last year. And to be fair to Ten Hag, that was happening under him. The problem was we weren't scoring goals. We've scored 50% of our... we've scored 33% of our goals at home already in this game. We'd scored 4 home goals in the Premier League before today. We've now got 6. So 33% of our home goals this season have been scored in this first half an hour. That's the problem. Defensively, we've been pretty decent this season, but scoring goals, no. Onana's got most clean sheets this season, says Simon. I don't think he has. Oh, well, no, he probably has because Alisson's injured, isn't he? I would have said it. Well, no, must be the Forest goalkeeper. They've hardly conceded any. You might be right, actually. You might be right. You might surprise me. But what I will say is, I still think we need the third goal because I feel that Leicester haven't been as bad as maybe the score suggests. 2-0 to Ipswich. Oh, my God. Oh my God, it's 2-0 to Ipswich. I know we're watching United, but that would be epic. Absolutely epic. If Spurs were to lose at home to Ipswich, I think Ange would be under huge scrutiny there. I mean, I don't know why I'm getting excited about that. For us, look at where we are in the league table. We're still 12th as it stands, even if we score. But we would be 4 points off 4th, which would be interesting. 4 points off 4th gives you something to work with, Amorim, doesn't it? Back 5 continuity has helped with the defensive issues this season. We've been solid, says Patrick. I agree. Not to be sour, but we use Hoyland only for pressing, says James. Yeah, we don't use our striker. I think that's why McTominay scored so many goals last year as well. We use our striker as a decoy. I don't think some people understand that, but our striker at Man United is not there to be having chances created for them. We use them as a decoy. So occupy them and let somebody else run into the space. It's CJR says, do you think Anthony could be a left-back sub for Mazraoui? Mate, I often think people are trolling when they do this, but you've just paid £5 as a super chat. I don't get it. Maybe you're about to unravel something. You're certainly not the only one, but I don't understand this left-back Anthony story at all. I mean, he threw his toys out the pram when he was asked to do it last season. So we need to address the fact that as soon as the manager is sacked, Bruno remembers how to play football again, says Gold Star. No fruit. Thank you very much for your super chat. Marcus says we need a new striker. Hoyland ain't good enough. And would you agree United struggle with some of the basics, as Bobby? Mate, today is just about the result. Let's embrace the result. If people are chanting Bruno's back or whatever, look, Rasmus hasn't had a good game. Rashford's been very quiet. Bruno's had a good game. Ahmad's had a good game. What will that mean in a month's time? We're about to get a new manager in tomorrow. Maybe Rashford's going to cook under a new manager like he did with Ten Hag. I mean, Rashford was very quiet at the end with Rangnick, and then he went brilliant for Ten Hag. So I'm hoping that that's going to happen again. We don't have another striker other than Rasmus, and Amorim plays with a striker. So maybe he's going to have a glow up. I don't think bad performances today are really worth getting your knickers in a twist about, because we're bringing a new manager in with a new system, and you just don't know how players are going to react to it. The positives are that we're winning. I think Delo's getting booked here. Is he booking him? We're about to hit half time, by the way. I thought Delo won the ball. I am doing Chelsea Arsenal, yes, Shazia. I'll tell you what though, if you are Garnacho, although Man United are winning 2-0, you're looking at the left-hand side, and I think if you're Garnacho and you're sat on the bench, you'd be going, this is what it's like. You're not going to be worried by Rashford's performance, are you? And conversely, I think when Rashford was sat on the bench on Thursday, you weren't worried by Garnacho's performance either. Something's just not going right down that left-hand side at the moment. Fuge says 12th, but 4 points off 4th is a crazy league. It's a competitive league, Fuge. That's the problem. Well done, Agate. Don't think he's going to get that. I think Agate's had a good half as well. Agate and Casemiro have been that platform again that we spoke about against Pauk. Here's Ahmad. Good save by the keeper. Good play by Ahmad. You see what I mean about the decoy run here? Watch where Rasmus goes. Some people would play Rasmus in there, but he's the decoy for Ahmad to cut in and shoot. No one will appreciate the run that Rasmus makes there to create the space for Ahmad to go into. Why did Ten Hag so much, says Kudovic. Don't know what you're talking about. Score predictions, Arsenal-Chelsea, says Ryan. I'm going to go with a score draw. I think Scott McTominay could have been a good striker for United. He was a striker before he grew, and he's excellent finisher. I think you're talking shit, mate. Thanks for the super chat, Fro, but I don't think Scott McTominay would be a good striker. He ain't quick enough. I think he's a number 10. Mark, if you had to get a proper backup alternative for Rasmus and Bruno, who would you look at, says Zico. I think if you were looking for an alternative for Bruno, you need to go young, because Bruno's not going to go anywhere for a while, so I think you'd go young. And I think as a striker, Bruno, as a striker, I'd go old. It's funny, actually. If I was looking for a replacement for Bruno, I'd get somebody young, because Bruno would still stay for a little bit. And if I was going for someone to compete with Rasmus, I'd go for somebody old to help develop Rasmus, who can come in and score goals straight away. Anyway, half-time. Manchester United lead 2-0, and that's what it's all about. I did predict a 3-0 win. Am I on course for that? Leicester not really done anything in relation to chance creation so far. Manchester United, I wouldn't say we're home and hosed yet, but it has been very routine for Manchester United so far. Something we don't normally see. 58% possession, 9 shots to their 5, 2 shots on target to their 4. Both had a corner each. We've had more passes and slightly more pass accuracy. Look, I think where we are at the moment, and I think this is a bit of praise for Ruud van Nistelrooy, I don't think it's pretty. I don't think it's something you'd look at and go, we're going to get top 4. But I think as a holding, in cricket, they call it a night's watchman, where there's only a few overs to go before end of play. And instead of putting your best batter out, you put one of the low order people out just to defend and, you know, keep you in the game. And I think that is what Ruud van Nistelrooy's done. He's been a great night's watchman over the last 4 games, because I don't think the football's been amazing, but I think the results have been really good. And you've got to praise that stability when before the last 4 games, we were erratic. So I think Ahmad's made a big difference, very, very good. Obviously, Bruno with the first goal, I don't think we'd give him the second goal, although the cross from Mazraoui is very good. But for me, the real unsung heroes of that team is Onana, the back 4, Agate and Casemiro. They've just given that platform that allows the front 4 to get into positions where we've been able to score those goals. And I know Bruno's been involved in both goals, Ahmad, Mazraoui, but defensively in the midfield, they've just... And again, I don't think that defence in midfield is going to cause any problems to Liverpool or Man City or Arsenal in its current form. Hopefully it will do next month when we've got Amorim in. But what they have done is they've just given us some stability and made it harder to score against us. And that is why we've conceded less goals than Man City. That is why we've conceded the same amount of goals as Chelsea. Defensively, we're actually so much better this season. And I think if you're Amorim, you couldn't ask for much more. First win in Europe, through in the Carabao Cup, didn't get beat by Chelsea, beat Leicester. Let's get to work, because there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done. This might be a bad shout, but watching Gyökeres against Leicester City, it reminded me of Rashford at the start of his career. I wonder if Ruben can do there, says Matthew Fox. I don't see any similarities between Gyökeres and Marcus Rashford, to be honest, Matthew. And I respect what you're saying, but I don't see any similarities at all. Gyökeres is a striker with strength and ability to hold the ball up and occupy centre-backs. I've never seen that in Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford up front is good if you want to hit a ball over the top and utilise his pace, but I don't see any similarities, honestly. New start manager, enjoy today, says Dan. Mark, have you seen Spurs? They're losing 2-0 to Ipswich, yes. Harry Maguire says a win here could mean 4 points off top 4 by the end of the day. Ruben in, says Harry Maguire. Thank you very much. Araki says, I really wanted Eric to work, but he deserved the sack, just not for playing Ahmad. What a superstar. Mazraoui heard chat, says he did not send crosses in, says Mud. I really like that our midfield has dominated theirs, says Chiri. And would you take Ashley Young at left back temporarily? Shut up, Goldio. You'll get blocked for shit like that. Maybe Ruud played Mazraoui on the left because he feels Rashford needs some more support than Ahmad, says Benny. Well, I agree. Mazraoui has been playing at right back and he's done very well with Ahmad. The fact that he got shifted to left back is because I think Mazraoui is our best fullback and he probably is trying to help out the left winger. Did Ten Hag hate Ahmad, says Kudvich. Man United are like that ex that won't go away. You just know what you're going to get with them, says Katie. And why did Ten Hag... Kudvich. Okay, we've done that one. My ideal Bruno replacement is Guler. Rumoured to be upset with lack of play time at Madrid and no clear path to get more minutes. Could leave like Odegaard. Hold up play from Rasmus wasn't very good, says Aradia. Ahmad is our best player, says Simon. And Edward V says, do you think Amorim implements his formation from the get-go or uses some transitional process? I'll be worried the players won't be able to understand it and or sustain it, and we lose games we may not otherwise. You know what? Good question that, very, very quickly. For me, I think he will implement his formation straight away. And I think he has to implement his formation straight away, because if he comes in and says, I'll work towards a 3-4-3, he may never do it. Ranić, look at Ranić, played half an hour of Ranić ball and then went back to something that the players understood. You've been brought in to do a job. Just get on with it. If there's bad results or players can't deal with it, then you just got to work with that. But you will highlight the players that can't do it quicker. And I think there's enough players in that squad who can work an Amorim system. Dan says, great show, Mark. Have you cleared out the loft yet to dig out the old United reversible top? Love the show, says Dan. Love the book, says Dan. Thank you very much. Old reversible top. I think it's in the cupboard. The white and gold one. I think it's in the cupboard, yeah. I'll have a look this week. United Bilal says it's pronounced Gyökeres, not Gyökeres. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. Mark, we're not creating nothing for Rasmus, says Paulson. Thank you very much. Look, I think in relation to Rasmus, he's not had a very good game again. The link-up play's not been good. The hold-up play's not been very good. But there's no service again. And I think it was highlighted with that chance that Ahmad nearly scored from. He does, basically, the decoy. On the Bruno goal, he's the decoy. He's occupying the centre-backs so that other people can run into the space. And Ahmad's benefited from that. And obviously Bruno benefited from that on the cross. I'm not really bothered. You know, let's talk about the negatives, because there's been a few positives. I think the positives for me are Ahmad, Bruno's goal, 2-0, the back four and the holding midfielders have been very, very good. The negatives would probably be Rashford and Rasmus, if we're being honest. Rashford's been very quiet. And so, you know, Rasmus has as well. But I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really care, because we're winning 2-0 and there's a new manager coming in tomorrow with a new system. So what's the point? If we're losing 2-0, I think there's plenty of reason to go in on players. But we're winning 2-0 and it's a new manager tomorrow. So it's almost wasted energy to go, this is why we need to sell Rashford. This is why we need to buy a striker. Because in 2 weeks' time, he might start Rashford and Rasmus in a new system and they might score a hat-trick each. And then everyone looks a twat for going, we need to get rid of him. We need to get rid of him. Delo's not had a good game as well. You're absolutely right. To be fair, a lot of people saying it in the chat. But again, with Delo, he's rubbish. He's fell off. He's this, that and the other. And then he plays his first game for Amorim and he's the best player. How many times, well, look, go back to Ranić again. That was the worst United dressing room, some horrific performances. People were faking injury. It was a disgrace. It was an absolute disgrace. And the whole United fan base was united in the absolute disdain for that dressing room. Ten Hag comes in and players that were absolutely shit are suddenly amazing. So, look, I know what the problems are. You know what the problems are. Amorim's going to have to figure those problems out. And some of those problems might suddenly start playing well under Amorim. So I'm not really going to waste too much energy on bad performances as long as we win this game, because I think the real work starts tomorrow. But as I said, if you're Garnacho and you're sat on the bench and you're looking at Rashford in your position, are you worried? I think you sat there going, Amorim comes in tomorrow. He's done absolutely nothing. I'll probably get half an hour. I'm not worried. If Rashford had scored a hat-trick or got 3 assists, you'd be a bit worried. So, look, we need these players to do better, of course we do, but we don't even know where they fit in. I mean, I'm going to do a video on this with you over the international break, but no one's got a bloody clue what he's going to do. I mean, if you look at the way Sporting line up, looking at the front three, it's a 3 centre-back system. It's 2 wide wingers who have to work back. It's a pivot, which will probably be Casemiro and Agate at the moment. And then it's 2 attackers behind a striker. So if Rasmus is the striker, who are the two in behind him? Based on today, you'd say it's Ahmad and it's Bruno. But then who would be the wide wingers? So there's just so much to try and figure out. What if he plays Rashford up front? What if he puts Xerxes in behind? I'm very interested, on a more positive note, to think about where Ahmad is going to play in the Amorim system. In the 3-4-3, I think Ahmad, my personal preference would be that Ahmad plays in behind the striker in the 2. But many people feel that it'd be a good person to play in the striker's position. Sorry, in the wing position. So I think there are a lot of things that are choking. Very interesting. With regards to this game, I think the only logical substitutions would be Garnacho for Rashford and maybe Xerxes for Rasmus at some point. I think that is sort of nailed on. But apart from that, I mean, look, 2-0 should become 3-0, should become easy, but I don't see a way back for Leicester, if I'm being completely honest. But you do have to be a little bit careful because there is still that mental fragility, which I think does exist for United. And I don't think Leicester have been terrible. Please do subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner to do that. We did hit 966. We're on the road to 2 million subscribers, which has never been done on YouTube for an independent fan channel. So make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're only about 300 away from 967. We're getting closer and closer. So subscribe, get involved. Don't forget, at the end of this game, we've got our match reaction where you can vote for the player, rate man of the match. You mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. We've got our own little place that you can do that, so get involved with that. Then we go live to the studio outside Old Trafford for the fan forum. I'm on at 8 o'clock tonight as well. We're live every morning at 10 o'clock. We've got some cracking shows for you over the international break at 8 o'clock as well. So make sure you subscribe and get involved with the community. You're very welcome. People who've been with us for years can testify to that. Subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And don't forget as well, don't forget to do player ratings in the second half. But don't forget tomorrow, Amorim gets announced. Now, we don't know what the running order is for tomorrow because Amorim is actually managing Sporting today against Braga. So I don't think it's going to be... I don't even know if tomorrow is like get to work day. I feel like tomorrow is just the official start date. United have been a little bit... closed off about what's actually happening. There was thought that Amorim might attend Carrington and do a press conference taking questions from the press, but obviously in the international break, some journalists go and follow international football, some journalists take time off, some members of staff of Man United do that as well. So I don't know that we're going to get a press conference with Amorim until he does his one for the Ipswich one. Which will probably be on a Thursday, won't it, before the Ipswich game. But I think there'll be some sort of interview released, but obviously all the conversation will start. We'll probably find out what's happening with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Can I actually just ask, I want to just do a bit of a poll here. Should Amorim keep Ruud? I think this is just... When we did it the other day, most people were like, no, fresh start, move on, thank you, Ruud. But because we're winning 2-0, I've even seen a few people in the chat saying Ruud in. Might be trolling, but I just think maybe it's just another prime example of modern society and its flip-flop nature and its impatience that most people a couple of days ago were saying Ruud needs to go. And now, because we're beating Leicester 2-0, I guarantee you people will be saying, let's keep him. I want him to go. I do. I really like him and I'm really, really grateful, but I want a clean start. In fact, I just think the fact that he wants the Man United job and he said that he wants the Man United job and he gets on with the players, I don't know why Amorim, who's got no relationship with him, would want that there, knowing what the media is like in this country, and how it could be a problem for him in the future. So I would just say no. But I don't know which way it's going to go, but I would move him on. But Amorim must decide. I agree with U2B. Amorim must decide. But I just think start afresh, like some people are saying. But as I say, if he stays, I won't be bothered. I just think if he stays, it just creates a potential issue for you down the line. Okay, players coming out for the second half. In the other Premier League games, Ipswich are beating Spurs 2-0 at half-time, and Nottingham Forest are beating Newcastle 1-0 at half-time. Let's just get these 3 points, park that whole thing, and start a new era tomorrow. And as I say, we'd still be in the bottom half of the table. That's how it looks at the moment. Man United would be bottom. That's not how it looks, but that's how it looks at the moment. We would still be in the bottom half of the table. We'd still be 12th, but incredibly, we'd only be 4 points off 4th. It's mad at the moment that from 13th to 4th is separated by 4 points. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 teams separated by 4 points. What a competitive league we've got. What a competitive league. Second half is about to start here. I don't want Rude. No one can actually explain why he's good other than he's a smart dresser and the players need a mascot to cry at, says Nick P. Well, look, I think the results have been good. I don't think the football's been good. I'd agree with you on that. I think it's just been treading water. But maybe he'd keep him as a striker coach. If I was Amorim, I would keep Rude till the end of the season. Rude knows the club, the history, the expectations and the players. Amorim can learn a lot from Rude. Why does it? What? I don't agree with that. Forever PVM. What does he need to learn from Rude? Oh, here, this is Carrington. This is the trophy room. This is what we won 20 years ago. Why does he need that? Did Jurgen Klopp need that? I don't think you need that. I don't think you need that. I think you need to come in and be your own person. When Giggs stayed as a coach, it caused issues. Rude staying would be the same, says Matthew. It's got people talking, though. We defo need another striker, Mark, says Cobby. And as long as Højlund's getting service from Rashford, I think it's going to be limited. Swap him for Nunez in Liverpool and he gets a load, says Bruce. While it makes me that mad that he hasn't played like this the entire time, the last couple of games really show there's still a player in Casemiro, the right formation and players, and he excels, says Fuge. I think having somebody like Agate next to him really does help. Parents, love your content. As always, fuck City, says Warwick. Jack the Lego Maniac, thanks for being a member. Someone should call Ten Hag and sack him again, says Moose is loose. And hi, Mark. At least this is definitely a better performance than midweek. I'm pleased with Bruno not giving the ball away as much, says Ollie. And Jam Sandwich says, Rashford doesn't have the football intelligence, no matter who the manager is. It's blatantly obvious. He can't take on players and always looking back. Could we win the Europa League and get top 4 if the players can gear up, says Anindo. Well, anything's possible, isn't it? I just think it's about, for me, I don't want to set that expectation because expectations aren't achieved and then people get moody. For me, I'm willing to not write the season off, but I'm willing to see it as there's a lot. We're changing system. We're changing manager. We may need to buy and sell players. So I think there's a lot of work to do, and we will have to be patient. But I'd like to win the Europa League. Considering Spurs are the best team in the Europa League, I think we can win that. SE says, we're soulless. Forget the score. These past 4 games, the way we played tactically, just worse. Would be better to sack Ten Hag now before the international break. Would you take Delap, says unknown person. And should Kobe walk straight back into the team? Or should we keep Casemiro and Agate, says Chiri. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It doesn't massively matter how well Casemiro and Agate play because it's Amorim's first game, so he will do what he wants to do. Casemiro's going to get booked here, a bit of a body check. Paulson has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, mate. Agate's growing every match. Lovely to see. But that's why he needs to play games, mate. Unknown person also says, would you take Liam Delap? Mazraoui's looking fantastic. Agate looking good. Delit looking good. If Ineos work with the new coach on signings, I see a good future, says Ryan. Agate playing better and better each game, says Gazarem. Great show, Mark. I've done that one. Thank you very much. Okay. I don't think he did get booked, Casemiro, there, actually. Referee letting things go. It's nearly 50-50 on whether Rude should stay or go, which is just so evidence of the flip-flop society that we live in nowadays, because on Thursday we did it and it was 84% were saying Rude go. Beat Leicester 2-0. Oh, let's keep him. And the logic behind that is why? So you've changed your mind because we're beating Leicester 2-0. Mad. Welcome to the world. Given the fact that Amorim loves Uruguayans, could Palestri have thrived under him, says Andre. Yeah, you probably make a good point. And the way that... But then again, what's Palestri doing? Like, could he have thrived? It's not like he's playing for Barcelona, is it? I mean, I think we have to wait and see what happens with Palestri to see if we made a mistake there. But I always said that Ten Hag didn't like Palestri. Nelly, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Get your badge in. Nice flick by Rasmus. Rashford heavy touch. Winks wins it back. Rashford's... there hasn't been any yellow cards, has there? Here's Rashford, bit of space. Use... Oh, he's got so much space here. Use Mazraoui. Oh, for fuck's sake, mate. That is... I'm sorry. Like, that's not good. That's not good. He's got Mazraoui on the overlap, and he passes it... Well, he doesn't pass it to Bruno. It doesn't make it to Bruno. Got to do better in that situation. He's not had a lot of those opportunities in this game where he's so much space, and Mazraoui's just an easy ball. If you're going to ignore those balls as a winger, there's not really much point. Would Emery cover 6, 8 and 10? Arahu and Hulmland allow this squad to compete for the Premier League. Contracts expiring, I think, says Sahil. I don't think they are. Hulmland's contract definitely isn't. Rude should go at the end of the season. Help strikers now, says Nick. Should keep Rude as a striker coach, says Sue. Delo looks way off it, says Ty. And no ex-players in the dressing room. New guard, please, says WP. Thank you very much. I just wanted to have a quick look. I don't think the referee has booked anybody, has he? No. And no. There's probably been a few yellow cards, to be fair, but there hasn't. Garnacho's coming on. I mean, that's a quick substitution, isn't it? I mean, bloody hell, what's Ruud van Nistelrooy doing there if he subs Rashford off after 6 minutes of the second half? That's a huge call, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, I'm sort of like, Ruud, what the bloody hell are you doing here? Trying to get a job? Because if he's going to take Rashford off after 6 minutes of the first half, that's a massive. I mean, I think that's harsh. Rashford, he does play it into Mazraoui. Edge of the box, Bruno. Keeper keeps it in. I wonder if Marcus is pushed in training. Bad form, says J-Dead. And Goldio says, do you agree Rashford is the only player who doesn't have the intelligence to play in an Amorim system? Not a striker, 10, and can't track back. He's finished, says Goldio. Well, I don't think he can be finished because we've given him this massive contract and massive money, but he's going to have to glow up big time under Amorim, isn't he? Which is, it has happened before, but I think if he takes him off after 8 minutes of the second half, there must have been something said at half time that, it's not good enough. I'll tell you what, though, we haven't seen that sort of behaviour. And look, Ruud's got nothing to lose, has he? I said this when he took the job. Do things that are going to make you popular because you're basically auditioning for a job elsewhere, aren't you? Free kick, edge of the box, Agate. I think Johnny Evans is coming on as well. United Don says if he's not playing well, take him off. Well, I do agree with that, but maybe we're just not used to that, are we? It's not. A lot of people call it PR. A lot of people say the club don't do it. It would surprise me, but I can't see anybody else who'd be taken off unless they're injured. You know, maybe Ahmad's got a knock. I don't know. But why would you take Ahmad off? You know, it's 2-0. What if it goes wrong? Abhijit says, I might be in the minority, Mark, but I don't actually want Rashford to have a new manager bounce under Amorim as it gives people false expectations and delays the process. I do want him to have I do want him to play well under Amorim because I think it's a player that's on a huge contract, on big wages, that is problematic to sell. So I'd rather he was playing well than badly. But I don't know whether it's particularly likely. I think sometimes you look at a player in a bad spell and go, you can see the mechanics if the product's just not there. At the moment, there's just so much to his game that doesn't look right. Anyway, Leicester have got a good free kick here. One thing we haven't mentioned in the entire game is actually that there is so much... what the hell is that? There is so much... Delo should have been a... SD93, that doesn't even make sense. Oh, I know what you mean. Very harsh, actually. SD93 says Delo should have been a blowjob or in a tissue. I mean, that's just disgusting. I realise what you mean now. Benji, thank you. Welcome to the Members Club. Rude for the Wolves job, says LX. I think we need to be a bit careful here, you know. I said at half-time that Leicester haven't been as bad as people think. Good tackle by Casemiro. Players aggressively winning the ball back. Right, Rasmus has got a bit of space here. Garte goes to Rashford. Not a good cross, cleared away. Well, we've got 2 subs waiting to come on, but this can happen sometimes. It's a bit like when you're playing FIFA. The ball's not going out of play. Here's Ahmad. Got a bit of an overlap with Delo. Little dinked cross, well away by FaZe. And that will probably be substitute time now. Curse is lifted. I put 10 racks on United top 4, says Parker. Okay, let's have a look who's coming off and who's coming on. Well, Johnny Evans is coming on. Yeah. Delo. And Rashford. That's big, that is. I mean, that's literally 10 minutes. Well, it wasn't 10 minutes. It was about... When they were actually ready to go, it was about 6 minutes into the first half. So, very aggressive substitutions from Ruud van Nistelrooy there. You can only applaud it. Where do you watch these games? Says James Quinn. And curse is lifted. I put 2 racks on. There we go. Great subs, says Man United. Lots of people enjoying it. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Bruno's down injured at the moment. Rennie Heck's still there, you know, by the way. No one's talking about whether he should stay. Love the substitution. 2 not so good players off, says Ankit. Mate, you can't argue. If Rasmus comes off in the next 10 minutes, you couldn't argue with that either. Like, it's not like we were talking about half-time and Delo and Rashford and Rasmus were definitely the 3 players that hadn't had a good game. So you can't argue with it. It's brave, though, like Mark D says, and it's not something we're necessarily used to. Do you think we should have Eric Cantona coaching? says Will. And we need Rashford to do well. Garnacho and Ahmad can't start 60 games. Strength in depth, says Avi. Good point. Absolutely good point. What's for dinner, Mark? Says Ev. I don't know, mate. I'm not going to be eating for a while. I know that, because straight after this, it's the match reaction. And then it's straight into the Chelsea-Arsenal game, 8 o'clock game tonight. So I won't be eating until about 6, half 6. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Mazraoui's gone to right back, and Martinez has gone to left back. Johnny Evans centre back with De Ligt. You know what? I actually think the bigger substitution is Delo. Why would you take off your natural fullbacks to put Martinez at left back and break up your centre backs? I mean, the interesting thing about Garnacho is. The Garnacho for Rashford thing is like for like, but taking Delo off, you move Mazraoui to right back, you move Martinez to left back, and then you break up your centre-back partnership. So you're making 3 changes to your back 4. Has he done that because Delo's having a bad game, or is he done that because Delo has an injury? I don't know. I'd like to think he's done it because Delo's having a bad game. Faris says, do you think Rude's doing it to win the full fans over to stay? I think there's an element of that. I think there's also an element of showing the world that you're a good coach. Look, I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy wants to be the striker coach at Manchester United. I don't think people realise this. Oh, makes a couple of brave subs to get the striking coach job at United. He wants to be a manager. He was an assistant manager under Ten Hag. And I think people are really naive thinking that he wants to win the striking job. He don't want to be Benny McCarthy, does he? He doesn't want to just be a striking coach. He wants to be a manager. So I think what he's doing is showing his managerial credentials so that... Look, I honestly think if Amorim keeps him, he'll be gone by Christmas to a championship club or somebody else. I don't think he will stay for long. I think he's showing that he wants to be a manager. And, you know, all these people saying, oh, let's just keep him as a striker coach. Why would you go from assistant manager to striker coach? Why would, you know, do you not think he's been bitten by the bug? He's managed against Chelsea. He's managed against Leicester in the Premier League. He'll feel he can do a job. I think that's what he's doing there. Who's your man of the match, Mark? It's early doors, but I would say contenders for me, obviously Bruno, Ahmad, Ugarte, Casemiro, Mazraoui. Here is Garnacho. And both Ahmad and Mazraoui don't read the pass. Camden, welcome to Members Club. Thank you. Rude out. There can be no confusion who is in charge, says Brian. And Jack says, considering we've had a bad start to the season, if we win today, we are only 4 points off top 4, says Jack. Is it just me that can't stand Bruno's moaning? Says it's Dave in it. And Rude doing it to win the fans. We've done that one for Varys as well. Thanks for your super chats, everybody. We will read those out. And thank you everyone who subscribed as well. I think I'm actually going to take a sit down, because I didn't get my half-time sit down. You can't stand up for that long. It's not good for you. It's actually not. Scientifically proven. Oh. Shamoni. That is good. Chili says, I can't wait for the new coach. Camden, Eaton, welcome to the Members Club as well. Might have our first yellow card here. Bonetti catching hold of... Yeah. Ugarte. Was it Martinez? I think he caught hold of Martinez, actually. Yeah, it was Martinez. Oh, God. Right on the ankle as well. I never like to see Martinez getting caught around his foot. Rub says, Reece James on the bench. Media trigger incoming soon. Rude needs to go because he's not Amorim guy. He's Ten Hag's guy, says Danny. I think he will go. Cut Hoyland some slack. He's battling 2 physical centre-backs and also making runs that are being ignored. I think we've been too critical of him, says Architect. What do you think of Chris Wood in the summer, says AJ. How old is Chris Wood? Martinez still down here. Sky Sports has just made Rashford to Rooney comparisons and I can't stop laughing, says Constantine. People hate on Delo, but he's played 50 games, says Agate. Has Aura. And I can't wait for the new coach. Done that one. Okay, Martinez is up on his feet here. Well, look, so far so good. It's been a routine home Man United win, and we don't get many of those. I mean, I would have happily took a routine 2-0 win, clean sheet, 3 points, 2 goals. I'd have took that happily. In fact, I'd easily take 10 of these a season and be mildly entertained. I mean, this was something you used to see on the regular under Sir Alex. It wasn't 4-0 every week. There'd be games where, you know, keep a clean sheet, get the job done, move on to the next game. Love it. We're not there yet, but talking of which, Sir Alex Ferguson. Still, Ipswich are still winning 2-0 against Spurs. And, I mean, it's 1-1 for Newcastle. Isak has just scored. I've actually got a mate who's a Forest fan messaging me. So, Isak, there we go. Love that. Yeah, 1-1. Thick Skin says, Mark, are you ready to counter the stupidity of some fans if results don't go in favour of Amorim, saying Rude should have stayed? They will be here. Mate, I know. They will be here. And but the interesting thing is, he's got to go. I mean, look, how can you compare Ruud van Nistelrooy's games to those of Amorim? Ruud's had Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Leicester at home. I mean, all his games have been at home, haven't they? Yeah, he's had 4 home games in a row. One was Leicester reserves, one was Leicester, the other one was PAOK, and then Chelsea at home. So he's had 4 games at home. Here's Garnacho on the left-hand side. Do you want to know what the first few games are for Amorim? Ipswich away, who are beating Spurs 2-0 at Spurs. Bodo Glimt, okay. Then it's Everton, Arsenal away, Forest at home, Man City away. So he's got Man City away and Arsenal away in his first few weeks. I don't see us winning them games. So he could have 2 losses in his first 5 Premier League games. So people need to be patient. How many signings do you think United needs, says Matthew? I think until we see the new system, it'll be very difficult to see. I don't actually think we need centre-backs, even though he'll play 3 centre-backs. I don't think we need any because we've already got De Ligt, Martinez, Yoro. Then you've got Lindelof, Maguire, Evans. And then you've got the potential to play people like Luke Shaw, Mazraoui, Delo there. I think it depends what he does with his wide players. Is he going to play wingers there? Brilliant play by Ahmad. Is he going to play wingers there? Is he going to play fullbacks there? Midfield might be okay in the pivot for this season. I think what he does behind the striker will be interesting as well. But yeah, I think wingers, number 10s and a striker are probably the ones that are going to jump out to me quickest for Amorim. But we're going to have to learn as we go along, aren't we? Just in relation to Spurs versus Ipswich, match stats. Spurs have had 3 shots on target and so have Ipswich. That's a terrible game for Spurs to lose if they do. What's the Spurs lineup today? Romero, Porro. Hold on, Leicester are on the attack. Good tackle, Martinez. They're still on the attack. And I think they've got a corner. Yeah. Vicario, Porro, Romero, Dragusin, Adogi, Kulusevski, Bentancur and Sarr, Solanke, Son and Johnson. So it's not a bad... I mean, that's a great result for Ipswich. So far. But if you've been following Ipswich this season, they've had a lot of bad luck with red cards and late conceded goals. Stephen says, how many wins and points do you think we'll end up with? Mate, you're asking me to predict the impossible. I've got no idea. Amorim wins most handsome manager in the Premier League, says Katie. Media is rude in. Amorim hate flying in if he goes wrong, says Crunny. For every decent Casemiro touch, he has 25 horrible ones, says Joshua. And how many side done that one as well? Amorim plays with 2 number 10s, says Dylan. A playmaker like Bruno and an inside half winger. Sancho could be perfect for that. God. Oh, he's gone to it. He's gone to Chelsea, mate. Forget about it. Mark, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks for the super chats. There will always be Prats in your fan base. Agate, man of the match. I'd love Agate to get man of the match, you know. I think he has had a good game. And you got all those knobheads who were criticising him a few weeks ago. Amorim's not even here. And he's starting to play well. Newcastle are beating Forest 2-1. Yeah, but those fans who were writing Agate off, I just don't get what's in their head that makes them think they're a Man United fan. Well, they are Man United fans, but I don't know what it is that makes them be a Man United fan, because what do you think it is that made them support United? Because it's odd to me. It's odd to me that you wouldn't want him to do well. You're not going to give him any patience and ability to adapt. He's just played a brilliant ball into Garnacho, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. And Garnacho slips over. What a ball by Agate. It is raining. I don't know whether that's an excuse, but the ball by Agate was brilliant. I think Garnacho's ended up hurting himself here. Fell on his hand. But that was well timed, wasn't it? Somebody said Agate man of the match, and I was just talking there about, you know, it's actually ironic. It actually fits so well. So you've got a live chat that's absolutely rinsing Garnacho, and it'll be the same people that a few weeks ago were rinsing Agate, and they'll now be saying Agate's man of the match, but 3 or 4 weeks ago, they'd have been saying he's absolutely shit. I don't know why we bought him. And now they've moved on to Garnacho, and this minority or opinion that exists in our fan base is just, it's hard to deal with. But the same thing was being said about Agate a month ago, and now everybody's saying, "Oh, Agate." Some of us were with him from the start. I think he'll be a brilliant player. Rude is a positive influence in the dressing room, says NAU. If that Rashford substitute has gone the way we think, then even more of a reason for Rude to leave. Rashford isn't mature enough to let that go, says Rico. Ahmad needs more games this season to succeed, says Simon. And when is the 72 million Rasmus conversation happening, says Harvey. Don't think it's happening today, mate. Would Gyökeres be a good signing for us, Mark, says Lachlan. Look, I think that I'd still have the grown-up conversation of how many chances are we creating for our striker again, and how many times is he not making the right move? Because when I say how many chances have been created, I know it's nothing. And then some people are saying, yeah, but look at his movement. And then I'd go, hold on a minute. It doesn't matter if he starts doing Michael Jackson Thriller or the moonwalk. There ain't nobody looking to find him anyway. There's no cross going in the box where he stood there checking his WhatsApp messages. Like, we're not playing the right balls for a striker. Whether he's making the right move or not, let's have the chat. But we're not doing it anyway. It's not happening. We're not playing and haven't played for a striker for 6 years. The graveyard shift existed 4 years ago. So this is something that I'm just like, whether it's Rashford, whether it's Rasmus, whether it's Garnacho, whether it's Bruno, we're really going to have to see what the manager looks to do. Cup of tea and biscuits. Can't you see I've missed it? I wrote that song. I tell you what, we should be sponsored by Yorkshire Tea or PG Tips. That is absolute prime promotion. A cup of tea, United Stand mug, could be a PG Tips mug, or even just Tesco. And we should be sponsored by biscuits as well, Jamie. Could have a hobnob and a cup of tea. It's perfect. Shaquille says, come on, Mark, that was very poor from Garnacho. Rasmus comes off. He'll be disappointed. But again, you can't argue with the substitution, can you? You can't argue with it. I think the right three players have been subbed today. I think he's going to make another one. I wonder, you know what? If Ruud van Nistelrooy takes off Bruno, he definitely watches the United Stand and reads your chats, because he's made the 3 subs you would have made. And if he now takes Bruno off a mount, it's just like he listens to you lot. So these are fan substitutions that he's making. He is, isn't he? I'll tell you what. Oh, here we go. Spurs have got a goal back. Pedro Porro, 69. Good time, good number. Come on, Mark, that was poor from Garnacho, says Shaquille. What do you want me to do, Shaquille? Like, I don't live my life like you. If somebody does something wrong, I don't lose my shit and say sell them. And if somebody does something good, I don't pretend that they're back. I support Manchester United. I want Manchester United to do well. And I desperately crave consistency. So I don't jump on every individual error or every individual moment of greatness. I'm looking at, if you want a name to cling on to today, for me it's Agate, because he's been consistent throughout. That's the sort of consistency I want to see. I've seen a player that over the last few weeks has gradually got better and better and better. Bruno with a good cross. Ryan says, you do it with Rashford. Mate, stop listening to Twitter and start watching the United Stand. I barely talk about Rashford at all. And when I do, most of the time it's quite constructive. This is a myth from comments I've made in the past that I haven't been saying for a very long time about Rashford. So this Rashford thing, I haven't said a word about him starting over Garnacho. I've said I was surprised by the substitution. I said he was quiet at half-time. I don't know where you're making all this bollocks up, but I presume you listen to these weirdos on social media who make it up. Casemiro's gone down here. This is something we do not want as well, injuries. Well, it's not going to be for Bruno. It's going to be for Casemiro, isn't it? What do we got? 10 minutes to go. Casemiro going off for Eriksen. If that Rashford substitution is... Okay, we've done that one. Thank you. So Casemiro comes off. I think we should have given Mason Mount 10 minutes. I think that was a logical one. In his, he needs minutes. Like, his fitness needs to be tested. So hopefully we'll see him coming on. Eriksen comes on. You got to make these substitutions. These are intelligent substitutions. You've got to get players involved. Just keep them ticking over with minutes. Another 2-0 win for Man United. But it's not done yet, but looking like another 2-0 win for Manchester United. Here's Garnacho. How's that not this ref's shit? How is that not a foul? You know what? I think this ref's been rubbish. I think he's almost been too far the other way in not giving fouls. Take the time and make some sense of what you want to say. Well, the second half has drifted, hasn't it? In a sense. But I think it's drifted in a way where the most important thing was to get 3 points and obviously work towards tomorrow and a new era under Amorim, the Amorim era. That's a good tea, that is. That's a bloody good tea, you know. I'm not messing around. That's good. That's good. Substitution for Leicester. Should Amorim keep Rude? 52% say yes. Laughable. Absolutely laughable. But, you know, that's society. That's the TikTok generation. Change your opinion every 10 minutes. Good defending by Martinez. Mikael says, hi, Mark. In the player ratings, you should do a rating of the ref each game. Oh, mate. Actually, you know, over the years, you're not the first person to say that, Mikael. I've got to say, because I'm allowed to be honest, I think that's a terrible idea. I just think it's so niche. It's just not worth doing it. Bruno into Garnacho. Oh, come on! Come on! Come on! Get it in! Get that in! Absolutely shut up! Shut up, you twats in the chat. Have some of that. Have some of that. Don't celebrate it. Remember, don't celebrate it. Don't celebrate it. You don't like him. You don't like him. He's a load of shit. No, he's fell off. He's not going to be any good. Don't celebrate it. You can't celebrate it because you've been slagging him off for the last 20 minutes. You've been slagging him off for the last 2 weeks. You know what? I know. Whether it's Agate or whether it's Garnacho, I know. I know what it is to support this football club. And I know what it is to see a talent. And I don't know where you get your football knowledge from. But you're an absolute prat if you don't see the talent that this kid's got. And the same with Agate. Writing him off as well when he's barely been playing. I mean, that goal is exquisite. Absolute exquisite. And the fact is, that's going to be burning some of our fans who criticise him. What a goal. What a goal. World class. Absolute class. Brilliant goal. Absolutely brilliant. What a goal as well. What a goal to silence your critics. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think Rudy's making all the substitutions, saying thank you to and goodbye to the players, says Bobby. Do I think Liverpool can win the league? Who's been your man of the match, says Anthony? I still think it probably is Casemiro. Sorry, Agate. Wonder goal by Garnacho, though. Absolutely wonderful. Safe to say Rashford is quickly losing both wing spots, says Jace. I don't agree with that, though. I don't. I think there's a new dawn. There's a new start. Everyone gets a clean slate. You know, Garnacho scores a good goal there. It doesn't mean he's going to be starting for Amorim, because it's what you do for Amorim, isn't it? I mean, that's another assist for Bruno, by the way. Good play by Xerxes into Garnacho. I don't think the ball went out. Bruno's been involved in everything today. Garnacho is class, says Derek. Naan what do you think? What are your thoughts on Garnacho's lack of celebration? He's got captain's mentality, says Jay. I think the lack of celebration is because he got treated like shit in midweek, and the pile-on has probably affected him. But I think a lot of people realise that we've got a talent there. It's not a complete talent. There's still a lot of work to be done, of course. I don't think he's the complete player. I don't think he's world class. I don't think any of those things. But I think he has the potential to be a lot better than he is. And I just don't understand why people would want to demean or undermine that. I really don't. But the best way to... We always say this. The best way to deal with your critics is to perform on the pitch. And United players have been bad at that over the years. I mean, Bruno today has to be praised. Has to be praised. Doesn't mean he's been good for the last 8 months, because he hasn't, but he has to be praised. And I think that's what it comes down to. Monte says, some ex-United stand member can shush now. Bruno has been involved in everything. I will say again, Bruno is a legend of our football club, says Say. Thank you very much for that. Looking forward to doing the player ratings, actually. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. Do you think we are going to be a counter-attacking side under Amorim, says John? I don't think that's the plan. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. I just don't like the whole player FC thing. Look, maybe Rashford's going to play really well under Amorim, and I hope he does. But this whole I like Rashford, I hate Garnacho. I like Garnacho, I hate Rashford. It's tiresome. I just don't agree with either side of it. What benefit does that to do to me as a Man United fan who just wants Man United to win? The more good players we've got for the more positions, the better. We're never going to pick... The stupid thing is, you're never going to pick your best 11 for 60 games. You can't. It's not sustainable. So if you love Garnacho, you've got to use Rashford. If you love Rashford, you've got to use Garnacho. I don't get it. I've never understood it. Just doesn't make any sense to me. And is it going to happen with Mainu when Mainu comes back? Oh, I want Mainu to play. I don't want Casemiro to play. I don't want this to play. We need a squad. If we bring in another striker, he can't play every week. You'd have to use Rasmus as well. The thing I'll always say about Garnacho is he makes things happen. And it's not always good. But when he's on the pitch, things happen. And I think the problem Rashford's got at the moment is when he's on the pitch, sometimes nothing's happening. It's quiet. And look, Garnacho might give the ball away 10 times, but things are happening. But look, above all the chats about players, let's not forget here, Manchester United are about to win a game of football 3-0. I predicted 3-0. Clean sheet, 3 points. Bada bing, bada boom. And that's the real quiz. I like the comment by Taylor. I think this is brilliant. Can we get... I know you can smash a like on people's comments, actually. There you go, Taylor. You can have some... I didn't realise you can do this. You can click a love sign when you see a super chat that you like. Can you do that on normal chats as well? Oh, no, this is a new feature. I'm just going to try you, Nick, who's a member. No, you can't. That's a bit cheeky. You can't add a reaction on a normal comment, but you can on a super chat. So I'll tell you one in a minute. Alan Noonan says, what players are world class? There are just a handful, says Alan. Mark, yes, we need a squad, but you can't defend someone who's played shite last season and this season and needs to go. Be fair to us and yourself. Who are you talking about? As long as Man United win, that is the main thing, regardless who plays where, says It's Maisie Golf. 3 points and league position will always mean more. People were calling Agate a flop after three games. Mate, I think there's a common denominator here. The people who were saying Agate was shit and Xerxes was shit also tend to think Garnacho's shit. So they're in the mud tonight, aren't they? But I hope they're not in the mud. I hope they get in the shower, clean themselves off and go, maybe I should just support the team and get behind new players and young players, because you don't do them any favours by writing them off. The best part of this game, done that one. Taylor, this is the one I wanted to read. The best part of this game is there is 4 or 5 players that can be man of the match. Good problem to have. I think the player ratings today is going to be a real novelty, because we've actually got players that are, competing for higher scores than normal. I mean, normally there's one player that hits a 7 and there's hardly any players that hit a 6. But today, I think it's a completely different story, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think we've played brilliantly as a team, by the way, but I do think that there's been some individual performances that have been really strong. I would love if Johnny Evans was 10 years younger. He puts a cracking shift in every game, says VXDZ. One great change from Rude is not having Casemiro pressing his ass off into the centre-back, just being compact, says Andre. Great point. Who do you think we'll go for in the January transfer window, says Sergio? I don't know. But I think we'll do something. I believe in Xerxes. He will score soon, says Dumasan. Look, Xerxes, look how deep he is. I've seen Xerxes pin 3 or 4 worldy passes from deep. But he can't, I don't think he can play as the number 9. Constantine, I was only kidding on the PGL, but can you please do, I've played the game, makes me laugh, says Constantine. Delit's been class as well, says Henri. Yeah. Again, another unsung hero performance. Barry says, if this is the end of Rude at the club, thank you for the joy you've put the last few weeks, and I hope he does very well. Six minutes added on. Rude at the wheel, says Dave. Garnacho, my star boy, have your next drink on me, says Ravel. That Garnacho video midweek was classless, says Parker. What do I think about Xerxes, John? Look, again, same with Agate. I refuse to write Xerxes off, and many people seem to want to write him off. I don't care what rivals say. It's rivalry. It's banter. But Man United fans writing off new signings who've barely been here, I mean, it's probably not unpacked yet. It's madness. You're meant to nurture. You're meant to give them confidence. You're meant to give them, a bit of space. But you know what? The media feeds into it as well. We've had rumours about he wants to go to Italy in January. It's all bollocks. Just back the players. I get it when it's a Bruno. I get it when he's been here for years. I get it when people who have been here for years can't be consistent because they've got no excuse. They've earned new contracts. They've played hundreds of games. They're settled. That's different. Like, when you've got a player that's experienced and been here for a long time and they're not putting it in, that's very different to a player that's been here 5 minutes and needs time to adjust. Mo Salah will be treated completely differently to somebody like Chiesa, won't he? Who hasn't, has only just joined. That's just the way of the world. But some people, some vocal people in our fan base, seem to be more focused on being right and seem to be more focused on being angry than actually realising that patience is going to be absolutely essential. And always is essential when it comes to developing young players and, developing new signings. You've got to be patient. And look, Xerxes at times has looked like a deer in the headlights. But in 3 or 4 months, I don't think he will. And Agate at times looked like a deer in the headlights. But I believe in the signing. And I think he's, over the last 4 games especially, since Ten Hag's gone, because Ten Hag wouldn't pick him, Ruud's picked him and he's got gradually better and better. What do you think about Leicester? Yeah, I mean, less said the better. They've not been good, and they've allowed us to have this very enjoyable early Sunday afternoon, but I don't really care. Leicester have got their things to deal with. We've got ours, and we needed 3 points today. And look, some people will say Ruud's had 4 home games where you're not going to get beat, but ultimately, would Ten Hag have got those same results? I think, to be fair, he's it has been workmanlike in a sense, but on another hand, I think it's been what we needed, and I'm sure Amorim will be sat there going very happy about it, really. Can't wait to see who your player ratings are. Yes, very interested to seeing that. But Xerxes has dropped in very deep as well since he's come on, which is not something that Rasmus is going to be doing. But I can't wait to do the player ratings because I think it's not even just about man of the match for me. It's about what you're going to give De Ligt, because I think he deserves a good score. What you're going to give Casemiro, because I think he deserves a good score. Right, let's get over to the match reaction because I've got to do Chelsea against Arsenal in literally 30 minutes, so I've got to get moving here. But I'll see you over there in a minute. Player ratings incoming. Speak to you in a minute. Man United win 3-0.